Edmonton MP Heather McPherson there launching her campaign to lead the NDP this weekend. The party is set to elect a new leader in March who will be tasked with rebuilding the NDP, which was reduced to just a handful of seats in the spring election. Also in the race so far, activist and filmmaker Avi Lewis and union leader Rob Ashton, who says he'll officially launch his campaign Wednesday in Toronto. So how is the field shaping up? Let's bring back our front bench. Brian Gallant, Lisa Raitt, Tom Mulcair, and Rob Benziar here. Tom, of course, as a former leader of the party, I'll start with you. If there is sort of a way to characterize the race thus far based on who we know has actually said that they're running, what would you describe it as?
I would say that the person who just launched over the weekend, Heather McPherson, has the inside track. She has so many people backing her within the party apparatus. And I'll start with a simple explanation that was given to me at the start of this exercise after Mr. Singh left his position as leader. It was essentially, we have to go back to Alexa McDonough, the last time we had a woman leader who was elected full-time. Of course, Nicole Turmel did the interim after Jack's death, but it was the last time we had somebody full-time was, of course, Alexa McDonough. So they felt strongly that it was time to have a woman leader, and a lot of the younger people in the NDP that I know have been working on that. A lot of the older hands in the NDP have simply decided that it is going to be Heather McPherson, so they're pushing hard for that. There is, of course, one thing she has in common with Avi Lewis is no French. And if you can't do a debate in French, much less an interview on Tout le monde en parle, you're going to be in trouble in Quebec. And it was such a hard job that Jack Layton and I did to try to break through in Quebec. And was that spectacular orange wave in 2011. But even before that, Vashi, we were starting to get votes. We were starting to get noticed. The ideas of the NDP really coincided with the ideas of a lot of Quebecers. That would be entirely lost if you had a person who couldn't speak the language. And Heather McPherson has a lot of capabilities. She's a very good communicator, but she in different interviews, she's letting us know that she has a daughter who probably is in French school or in immersion. She said, my daughter's going to help me learn some French. And that's nice. And she even did her launch at the Francophone Center in Edmonton. But, she's been there for years. She's had access to the very best French lessons for free, unlimited access as a member of Parliament. And it wasn't a priority for her until now. And unfortunately for her, she can't speak French. Nor can Lewis. And Lewis has been out in BC for a while. He's tried a couple of times to get himself elected. It hasn't gone well. And that's the biggest problem and the challenge that he's got, because if you want to be the leader of a party, you better show that you know how to get yourself elected. Jack Layton got himself elected after being elected leader. He got himself elected as an MP, and he got others elected with him. And I did the same thing. I won an implausible victory for the NDP in a by-election in Quebec. And then I became the first person to win a seat in Quebec for the NDP in a general election. So you have to be able to show that you can do that part of it. Mr. Lewis has a very good background as a filmmaker. He's a smart guy. And of course, his wife, Naomi Klein, is an absolute, demigod of the left around the world, not just in Canada. But I don't know if that's going to get him to first base with the members of the NDP. We'll see. I don't know Mr. Ashton. I'm told that he's a very strong union leader who has a lot of people who really like his approach. I mean, he'd be that person. And I think he would help reaffirm the cred of the NDP with working people, because the Conservatives have been doing a pretty darn good job of eating into that pie.
Benzi, what's your read on the crop so far?
Look, the NDP's at 8% in the polls, Vashi. If they were serious about being a government in waiting, Tom would still be the leader, frankly, because I think, as Tom mentioned, Avi Lewis, who is my age, so he's not a young guy, but I think there's an image of him as a young guy because he used to be on a VJ on Much Music and things like that. I'm not sure the son of Stephen Lewis, former provincial NDP leader here in Ontario, and the grandson of David Lewis, I think who was the first federal NDP leader. He's got really good family connections, but I don't know. Is it a nepo baby situation for the NDP? I don't know. I think Tom's right. Heather McPherson is already elected. The only thing is that all of these candidates so far seem really fixated on some issues that I'm not sure are going to be the most important issues with the workers in Algoma Steel who are worried about their jobs. They're very concerned, and rightly so, about Gaza and the war in between Israel and Hamas. But I'm not sure that that is the mainstream issue for most Canadians at a tough time when we're in a trade war with the United States. It's a fashionable issue among certain folks, and it's an important one. I understand that, but is it the voting issue? I don't believe it is.
What do you think, Lisa, is the most fertile ground right now for the NDP to mine?
Well, I think the area that Rob Ashton's going to go after, and that is unionized labor. I mean, the ground has pretty much been ceded to the Conservatives in some areas, the Liberals in others. Look, the way I look at it is that Heather was part of the government. Well, they were part of the government, weren't they? They did that agreement with Justin Trudeau. So she can't really run away from that. She is the establishment. Avi is very much an activist, and you're going to see that coming out for sure in the way in which he speaks. And the person who's going to be entering on October 1, Rob Ashton, who I had not worked with, he came to the ILWU after I left as Minister of Labour. But I hear good things about him as well, to pick up on what Tom said. But that's somebody who can speak very clearly on behalf of Labour, who is very clearly involved in an incredibly important economic sector, which is impacted by tariffs in this country. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say, quite frankly, and whether or not that's going to get Conservatives to think, okay, well, what am I going to say now? Because we clearly have somebody who has those union chops who's going to be entering into the race. So I'm hoping to see more debate and more discussion coming out of the end. I think we have a race, I think. And of course, I would like to finish by saying they should draft Mulcair.
That'll be the new banner on our panel. We can't lose a panelist. Come on, Brian. Last word to you. Your read on what you see so far.
You mean on Tom running again? Is that what you're? Sorry.
Yeah.
So
yes
look,
or no? Yeah.
From my point of view, I would agree with what my colleague said so far. I would simply say, when you are where you are with the NDP right now, 7 seats, sort of really just battling to be relevant, I don't know if the leadership race, as it's shaping up, is going to be able to garnish the attention they would need. And that's not easy, and it's not to the fault necessarily to those that have raised their hands to run. Often to get that type of notoriety, that type of attention, you need really something that is almost like a lightning rod. And let's go back to when the Liberals were in 3rd place and Justin Trudeau ran it. Had Justin Trudeau not run and got all the attention that he got for various reasons, I'm not sure things would have ended up the way that they did. Also, it wasn't the case in when Trudeau ran for his leadership, but I also think the idea that somebody is able to sort of garnish that attention is challenged by having too many candidates too, right? If it's a race of 2 or 3 people and there's somebody that's really saying some outlandish things that are maybe landing with some people in the country, or there's a star candidate, whatever it might be, if there's only a few of them, but if it's sort of just people that have maybe a little bit of a segment of the country they're after, or the party they're after, and there's going to be 4 or 5 of them, I'm just not sure it's the kind of race that the NDP needs to be able to get the attention that it needs to rebuild at this stage.
Okay, I'm going to leave it on that note. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the discussion. Brian Gallant, Lisa Raitt, Tom Mulcair, and Rob Benzie, our wonderful Monday front bench.